Hey, what's up, guys? Russ Anderson, Anderson Security Consulting, AndersonSecurityConsulting.com, Anderson Security Consulting on Facebook as well as Instagram. On Twitter, it's exec_protect. That's exec_protect. All that will be linked in the description below. If you have any suggestions or if you have any comments, please put them in the comments section below. Please consider as well hitting like, subscribe. It's free to you, but it means a lot to the channel, and what it does is it triggers the YouTube algorithm to spread this video to a wider audience. So thank you in advance for both liking and subscribing, and thank you very much to those who have hit like in the past and continue to subscribe. I think we're over 50 subscribers. Thank you so much, humbly and respectfully from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. And I also want to thank the people who've made comments and made suggestions to help improve the quality of the video. I am working on that. One individual, shout out to you. I don't have your name right now, but you made a suggestion about using Photoshop to create thumbnails, and that's actually a very good suggestion. And but believe it or not, I have never used never used Photoshop a day in my life. But I do have a secret weapon. I've got a 16-year-old son who is incredibly well versed with everything electronic. He actually writes code amongst other things. Very proud of him. But he has agreed to teach me how to use Photoshop. So I will be working on that and hope to be producing videos with Photoshop quality thumbnails as well too. So that's a perfect segue into a comment that was left on one of the videos about being a tough guy or the toughest guy on the planet, and GTFO, and I'm sure he meant it to be derogatory, but however, or as a pejorative, but we're going to use that for good. So shout out to you for your comment, brother. So we're going to talk about the mindset of an executive protection specialist or bodyguard, and those are two different disciplines. Don't let anybody fool you. Those are two different things. Shout out to all my bodyguards. Shout out to all my executive protection specialists. So with whatever type of protection professional you are, your mindset can't be that of a combatant. So a warrior, which we're not supposed to be. That doesn't mean we don't have the warrior spirit, but we're not being engaged as warriors. A warrior is programmed to engage with the enemy and destroy the enemy. All right, so close with them and destroy them. With executive protection, our main function is a two-pronged function, or multifunctional role. But our main function is keep your client off the X. The X is the point of attack, where your client is actually being sought at to either kidnap or attack them, harm them physically, or worse, right? We don't want to be there. We want to do things to mitigate those circumstances so our client never gets on the X. However, if everything else fails, which we're all human, anything can happen, and our client, we do find ourselves with a client on the X, our job, our main function is to evacuate that client safely and get them off the X as quickly and as efficiently as possible. So if you're working one-on-one with a client and you see an attack coming, your job is not to engage unless absolutely necessary, obviously, but your job is to do what you need to do to get your client out of there. So I'll give you an example of a job I was working years ago. When I was working in a different geographical location. I can't really go into detail, but our client had to engage a crowd of individuals that were being terminated from their place of employment. Now, back in those days, I wasn't as wise as I am now. I might have inquired why we only had the team that we had. It was a very small team of individuals, and the crowd got unruly, which we kind of expected to a certain extent. We didn't expect it to go as far south as it could have gone. It didn't, though. As we're going through, we're leaving. There was a mob of people between us. Not a mob, but there were quite a few people between us and the vehicle. So we were getting him out of there. It was scheduled time to leave. Vehicle was ready to go. We're going towards the vehicle. One of the people in the crowd spits at one of the executive protection guys. The executive protection guy didn't even pause, got the client in the vehicle, got in the limo. We're gone. and there's a chase vehicle. We're gone. So how could that have gone south? That could have gone south. And, spitting on someone is one of the most vile things anyone can do to anybody. And shout out to that individual. I won't mention his name. The guy's still working, still on the circuit. Shout out to you, my brother. He easily could have taken umbrage or been, really, really insulted. I know, that's a very big trigger point for a lot of people, and rightly so, and I get it. And he could have decided to engage this person in fisticuffs, and then there would have been a whole big problem. Probably what would have happened is we would have left him there, because at the end of the day, the job is to get the client out of there. But he got in a limo, got out some wet wipes, and started wiping himself off. And so it was in the face too, so it made it even worse. But he was such a professional. He was a consummate professional. And shout out to my professionals out there. That something like that, he didn't take it personally. And so we're not supposed to be tough guys. We're not supposed to be willing to engage people in some sort of combat, whether it be unarmed or armed, at the drop of a hat, or an insult, or even something as bad as someone spitting on you, which is pretty bad. Here's why. You do that, your client is on the X for a longer period of time. They are more vulnerable. You leave yourself and your client open to more things, whether it be legal repercussions or litigation. Your client gets sued. Not only that, bad publicity for your client. There's cameras, there's video cameras, cell phone cameras, surveillance cameras, everywhere you go. As soon as you walk out your house, consider yourself being videotaped and video and audio everywhere you go, because there are just so many cameras everywhere. And so that would have been a really bad look had he decided to be a warrior and returned the insult with, a fist to the face of this individual, but he did not. So do we study, martial arts? Yeah, guys come from all types of combatant, disciplines. I have a belt in Shotokan. I also have a belt in Goju-Ryu. I've also boxed. I wrestled. I did not do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I may start doing that. I've also studied Krav Maga as well as other combative systems. And so should you be able to or have the ability to defend yourself or defend your client? Yes, you should. Should you be well versed in any of the tools or implements you happen to be carrying? Sometimes whether it's a baton, pepper spray, taser, or even a firearm. Should you be well versed? Yes, you should. There are a lot of executive protection training schools that don't emphasize the utilization of weapons. They emphasize using your physical body to subdue an individual, and there are a lot of good reasons. There are many reasons for that. The United States Secret Service trains their agents, their close protection agents, to smother the person. They bum rush them and smother them. They throw bodies at them. And part of the reason for that is, number one, it's quicker as far as their reaction time, they found anyway. But also, two, if you're in a crowd of people and you start firing off projectiles, so say, for instance, you do manage to hit the individual that may be posing a threat to your team or your client. Okay, well and good. You're a hero, right? Everybody's going to be patting you on your back, right? Well, maybe not so fast. Where is that round going to go after it penetrates that individual and possibly stops the threat? Is it going to stop inside their chest cavity or in their body, or is it going to pass through and possibly hit someone else? That's why they do that. Now, everything is situational, but that's why a lot of schools teach that. I still do think some of them should go more into the use of force options, just because today, the world is changing, and, smothering an individual who's attacking your client might not be an option, but what they do teach is evacuation. Get them out of there as quickly as possible. Cover them with your body. Get them out of there, and hopefully you don't get hit as the protector. Hopefully you don't get hit. So our mentality has to be different. You don't want hotheads on a detail. You want people that are mature. You want people that have a steady head, that won't lose their composure in the face of hostility, in the face of physical violence aimed against them. And so this is one of the reasons people tend to use, or clients will tend to use, military people or a lot of law enforcement people. Shout out to all my military brothers. Shout out to all the law enforcement brothers out there. So, some of you don't know, I served in Desert Storm, Desert Shield, along with a few other places. I've worked overseas in different capacities as well too. So I have a pretty good gauge of how I'm going to react if things go bad. You don't know that all the time with brand new people. So a guy who is really, really good at hand-to-hand combat, could he be an asset? Yes, he could. He could also be a liability if he has the wrong mindset. And so we're not warriors. We're not supposed to be engaging assailants. We're supposed to be escaping assailants. So again, those are two different mindsets. You want to get your client off the X, get them out of Dodge, and address everything else afterwards. But your primary function is to get your client off the X. All right, so again, we'll talk more about mindset and different things of about executive protection. And again, shout out to every single one of you who have subscribed. Thank you so much. It is greatly appreciated. I will continue to try to improve the content and the quality of the video. So again, if you have suggestions, leave them in the comment section. Send an email to andersonsecurityconsulting@gmail.com. Hit me up in a message on Facebook at Anderson Security Consulting, Instagram Anderson Security Consulting, any single one of those, and I'll try to respond as quickly as I can, and I'll make a list of the videos and start trying to knock those out. Anyway, thank you again so much. Please hit that like button. You got a couple more seconds. 3, 2